And we said this, that you're allowed to wipe your hand on a towel is because it's not considered cleaning, because that's called dirtying the towel. The towel is not getting any cleaner by using the towel. It's called in the way of dirtying. Also, usually after you wash your hands and you clean it, there's still some grease on it and you're wiping it on it. Bottom line is the towel gets dirtier and dirtier, so that's why it's not an issue. But if you notice there is some dirt stuck to the towel, sometimes the kid comes and wipes his face on the towel, that has strawberries or whatever, cherries or anything that's chocolate. And then you're drying your hand in that towel and you're wetting that part of the towel. Now you could be removing some dirt from the towel. So then you have to be careful. You don't have to be overly like every time you pick up a towel to look at it before you dry your hands on Shabbos. But if you notice there's something there's something that's that sticks out, that's you're going to wipe against that area, it could make lighter the stain, then you should be careful. So now we're up to shoes. Putting water on your shoes. Are you allowed to wash your shoes on Shabbos? In other words, you're not allowed to wash material, garments, wetting your garments, it's cleaning it. What about washing shoes? You went outside, you went into the mud, your shoes got all muddy. Now you want to pour water on the shoes to wash off the shoes. So shoes is different than regular material because shoes is leather, and leather doesn't absorb. So it's not the same like a garment. So therefore, you're allowed to pour water on shoes if there's dirt stuck to it. But the only thing is you can't scrub it. You can't scrub it. So we said there's three parts in the malacha of washing material: soaking it, and then scrubbing it, and then squeezing the water out of it. So over here, because the shoes don't absorb water, so pouring water on it is not an issue because it's not absorbing the water. But to scrubbing it, you can't scrub shoes. But there's a catch over here. The catch is that shoes have shoelaces. Shoelaces material. So if the shoes have shoelaces, you can't pour water on it. So if the shoes have no shoelaces, you could pour water on it. If your shoes get dirty, you could pour water on it. But if it has shoelaces, you can't pour any water on it. What's your question?
Can you take the shoelaces out and then do it?
Let's see, why not?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's so extra.
It's easy to do.
Like I just wait till after Shabbos.
Yeah. There's a difference of there's a machlokes. There's an interesting machlokes. If you're letting shoelaces tear on Shabbos and you want to put in a new pair of shoelaces, is that okay or not? Some opinions hold that's considered that's tikkun keli, you're fixing the garment, you're making it fit for use. Some hold it's only an issue if it's a new pair of shoes that you've never had shoelaces. So our opinions say it's okay. So there's different opinions about putting it back.
Are you allowed to just wipe it? Like you're allowed to put some pressure just you can scrub.
Like dust off the dirt.
Correct. Yes, you could wipe it.
Yeah. Okay.
You could wipe the shoes. Yes, you just can't scrub it. Right. When you're wiping, you also have to be careful that if there's too much liquid absorbed in the material, you're not squeezing out the liquid from the material.
So you could do it with
Rag.
Rag.
No, what are they called? The wet wipes. You can do it with wet wipes.
Wet wipes is an issue because when you're using wet wipes, I believe we spoke about this. When using a wet wipe, you're automatically putting pressure and you're squeezing the liquid out of the wet wipe. Just like if I have this rag that's saturated with liquid, it's saturated. Now I'm wiping the table, right? And it's full of liquid. Automatically, when I'm wiping it, I'm squeezing liquid out of the material. So when using a wipe, automatically, usually if you use it the regular way, you are squeezing water out of the material. There are wipes, kasha, good for use for Shabbos, yeah?
But they don't work.
As we discussed in previous classes, it's good for Shabbos, but it's not good for what you need it for. So you have to check. No, it does something. Yeah. Now we spoke about that you're allowed to scrub, you're allowed to, if according to many opinions, it seems clear from the Altaneba that if you have dirt stuck to your garment, you can take your fingernail, you can scratch off the dirt. You can't scrub, but you could scratch off what's stuck to it, because you're not getting, washing means washing the material. This is stuck on the garment. You're not washing the material, but scrubbing is a form of cleaning. So even though you're not using water, but to go like this, to scrub it vigorously, that you can't. But just with a nail, just put a little pressure and scratch off whenever it gets stuck to the garment, that is okay. Now, are you allowed to wash the table? Can't wash material, but you can wash the table. It's hard surface, no problem. Washing is only when you're washing material. But you have to be careful when you're wiping the table, not to squeeze it, like we said before, that it's saturated with liquid, not to squeeze the liquid out of the material. Even scrubbing the table, in other words, in terms of scrubbing, you can't scrub shoes because it is material. But scrubbing the table in itself is not a problem as long as you're not squeezing any liquid out of the material. But scrubbing plastic is questionable. So plastic is in between, there was this question, it's in between a table and a pair of shoes. You can't scrub shoes, you can scrub the table. Plastic somewhere in the middle, it's questionable. So the English measure says, if you're going to scrub plastic, scrub it lightly. Scrub it lightly.
What are your shoes?
Right? I should say rub it, scrub it. Scrub is really correct. Rub it, whatever. Do it lightly, because you're not going to scrub hard. You're going to lightly rub it down, but you should avoid rubbing it, with force, because it may be that it has some, could be it's similar to shoes, because it's not hard. It's not like this table. It has a certain, it's soft. So that's why you should refrain, if you're cleaning the tablecloth, it's plastic, not to scrub it hard. And again, whenever you're scrubbing, you always have to be concerned about if this is saturated with liquid and you're squeezing liquid out of the material. Yes.
I don't know.
Oh, you guys, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Like, is that why if you have a massive spill, you will put
Yeah,
things
yeah,
on
what?
the massive spill?
Yeah.
People will put stuff on it, but they won't necessarily take it off the floor.
Correct,
Because they're
because,
scared that they're
right, so,
gonna figure it out.
but that, right. But just to make it clear, that's a different malacha. We're discussing it because it
Yeah.
binds together.
Right.
That's a malacha, you can't squeeze liquid out of material. Now, when you're squeezing liquid out of material, water, that can also be washing. If you're cleaning the garment, if it's clean water and you wash the garment and you squeeze out the liquid, then you clean the material. But when you're talking about a rag that's dirty, then you're not cleaning the material.
Yeah.
Then it's a different malacha, the malacha of extracting dush. So, right, so when there's a big spill, they're going to be careful. They will wipe it up and carefully pick it up, put it in the garbage. Not to keep on pushing or putting pressure when it's already saturated.
Sorry, tables, you said we can scrub or we can't?
Does anyone have a pencil I could borrow from the class? You don't need it?
No, I have pens.
Okay. Yes, what were you asked?
Table, you said we can scrub or we can't scrub?
Tablecloth, plastic.
No, like a regular, like the table.
Table?
Yeah,
Yes, you could scrub
okay,
because it's not material, it's art.
okay.
And in terms of washing it, there's no provision in washing it. It's only the concern of what you're using material that's saturated with liquid. You have to be careful that you don't squeeze liquid as you're doing it. Just look at your glasses. You can't wash clothes on Shabbos. Can you wash your glasses? Well, glasses it's like a garment, right? Yeah, it's a garment. Can't wash clothes, so you can't wash your glasses. Of course, you can wash your glasses because it's hard. So in terms of washing, you have to be careful when you wipe. Usually you use something that's dry anyways to wipe, so there's no problem washing your glasses on Shabbos.
Mhm.
Yeah, good. Go further. Okay. Here comes something very challenging, and that is sometimes garments get dusty on Shabbos. Go to Simcha, go to on Shabbos, whatever, in an event, and you put down your coat, and you pick it up, and the coat is full of dust. Dust is an issue. Dust, because the dust gets absorbed into the fibers of the garment, if it's bothering you, you cannot shake it off. So there's a very easy way to remember this halacha. It's the opposite of what you would like to hear. And that is, if it's bothering you, it's like it's really dusty, then you can't shake it off. If it doesn't bother you, if you're okay with it, then you could shake it off. So you can't go like this. In other words, it's full of dust. You want to go like that. If it's bothering you and you're uncomfortable with it, then you cannot shake it off. So what do? So over here, you could ask a guy. You're allowed to directly, usually can't ask a non-Jew to do things here on Shabbos. Over here, you could ask him directly, because it's one opinion holds this way, so therefore you could ask a non-Jew to do it for you. If you don't have a non-Jew, it's a problem. But what could you do? What should you do? Well, just think ahead. Be careful where you put your coat and what you do with your clothes. They're trying to get dusty. I don't know what to say. Yeah.
Of like the AirPod situation, of like, oh, if you need your space and you need to move your AirPods, but it's not to protect them, then it's like, but then it's like,
You're talking about looks now.
no, but I'm saying like this, like if it doesn't bother you, then technically you'd be fine with not even doing anything, you know? Like what's the level of that, you know? So then technically.
The reason why it's an issue because it's bothering you. It's not in essence a real kind of a melacha of washing clothes because you're not using liquid. When is it a little stain that doesn't bother you and using water, washing it. Okay. Over here, you're not really using, I just want to explain a little more. You're not really washing it, so what's the issue? But the dust gets into the fabric, and if it's bothering you, there's a opinion that says now it's considered washing because you're accomplishing something by getting off the dust. That's why it's an issue, because you're accomplishing something. So I don't have I don't know what to say. If this happens, Allah is you're not allowed. It says you could ask a non-Jew to do it for you. Okay. Here's a very interesting halacha. That is, say you live in a place, you have your own pool in your backyard, whatever. On Shabbos afternoon, you want to relax, and you want to go to the pool with a friend, and just stand around the pool, walk around the pool, walk around the ledge. You know, you're a good swimmer, you're not afraid of falling in if you know it's very deep. So you just want to walk around the ledge. You're not allowed to walk around the ledge of the pool because you might fall in. And we're not worried about you drowning. We're worried about that when you come out, you're soaked. So what are you gonna do? Naturally, you're gonna squeeze the water out of your garment and you're washing your garments. That's why you can't walk around the ledge, because you might fall in, and then when you come out, you'll squeeze the water out of your garments.
People literally swim on Shabbos.
What? What did you say?
People swim on Shabbos.
You're not allowed to swim on Shabbos.
But people do. So like,
People
what's
do?
going on there? Like modern Orthodox people.
Well, wait, really?
Yeah.
They do?
Yes.
I didn't know
And
where.
they're like, oh, it's because they think we're gonna build a raft, but we're not going. I mean, whatever. We're not gonna go.
I have never heard of any leniency. As far as I know, there's no leniency. There's no machlekes of lenient opinion, to the best of my knowledge. So sometimes people sometimes do things that they shouldn't do. Okay. Yeah.
If someone looked at this, should they go for the walk?
We're talking about, okay. I said walking around the ledge. Then you can't be by the pool. You gotta stay over the pool because you might fall in it. You know, if you fall, you're talking about if you're walking at the ledge, you're walking in a place that's very close to the pool, that if you lose your balance, you may fall into the water. So you can't walk around the ledge because you might fall in and then you come to squeeze out the liquid.
That's too for any pocket water.
Like, what do you,
Like a
what
water-
for instance,
a water-
like,
water
down next to the
lake.
sink, like, what do you mean? Any body of water?
Like a
lake.
A lake, a river.
So
like
you
Yeah.
can't walk
close
close
to
to them.
You can't stand right by the lake. If you're in a position that if you want to fall, your clothes will get wet, you can't stand there. Now, you're not allowed to put water on material that's clean. Because according to one opinion, we said before, it's still considered cleaning. So you can't have a water fight, you can't throw water at each other, even though your clothes is clean and just having fun, you can't. That means also that if, let's say, there's a fire. Now, really, the loss of fire is a discussion for itself. So, but let's try just to focus on what we're discussing here. And that is, there's a fire on the table. I'm not talking about what's life-threatening. I'm talking about that it's, there's no danger over here. It could be controlled. And now the way to control it is to pour water around the fire. Okay, if it's not a life-threatening situation, it does happen sometimes, like a Shabbos table, it could happen. I've seen it over the years happen. And it happens more often when people use tea lights which low down, because usually if you're using light that's higher up, it doesn't happen. But sometimes, like, sometimes when you go away places in the mountains or places like that, where you're not bringing your life there. So, yeah, pour a pan with tea lights in it, table, and sometimes it happens. Can you pass me a napkin? And the napkin goes right into the fire. Ooh, I've seen it many times. Now, yeah. So it's something to be aware of. It's something to be aware of that's put out aluminum foil pan with tea lights. You have to be careful. Just think it out. What's the way you're putting it, just. But if it does happen, let's say, then now if it's just a napkin, really, it's no big deal. The fire's going to go down. It doesn't have what to continue on. It's going down in a second. Whatever. That's a side point. But I'm saying, let's say you're concerned of the fire spreading, and there's no danger involved. So I guess something going on in it. Tell me later if it's relevant. Yeah.
That happened up there.
Oh, wow.
It's the same.
It's not fun.
The napkin is the same.
Wow. So you're supposed to put water around it. You're not going to put out the fire. Okay, we're discussing with this for sure, no danger. Okay, that's what we're discussing. You're supposed to put water around it. Because like this, what's the concern? The fire is going to spread. There's water around it, it won't spread. Can't spread. The water will stop it. So where are you putting the water? On the tablecloth, right? What kind of tablecloth do you have? Some people have a tablecloth with a plastic on it, like I have, plastic over it. Some people just have the tablecloth in itself. So if it's a plastic on it, just pour water around it. But if it's just the tablecloth itself, you're pouring water on the tablecloth. You're not allowed to do that. So what do? So step one is to use colored liquid, which means if you have orange juice or anything that's colored that's not going to wash the tablecloth, that's what you should use. If you don't have that, then use grape juice. In other words, orange juice, apple juice is preferred. If you don't have that, then use grape juice wine, because grape juice is also not a very good choice, because according to some opinions, there's a malacha of tziveh, of dyeing the wine. Okay, the malacha of dyeing, which you are dyeing is changing the color of the material. Some people don't mean it because you're not really fixing it, you're making it worse. So, but you're not supposed to. So that's why the first choice is colored liquid that's not going to dye it. Second choice is colored liquid that will dye it. Dye means saying that's not really dyeing it, like grape juice, but there are opinions that say it's not proper, but that's the next choice. If you don't have that, then you can be neat with water. And I'm saying that, this is what I'm saying, using water on material, I'm referring to now specifically where there's more of a concern of people getting hurt or something more serious than just trying to save your tablecloth from not burning down. Because really, according to Dal Teves, it comes out that you cannot pour water on the material. But the point is, with a fire, there can be situations where it could lead to danger. So even though it's not dangerous now, and you can't put it out, you're putting it around it. I'm going to tell you, no, you can't put water around it, so it's leading to something else that's not good. So that's why, if you don't, unless it's a situation where for sure there's no concern, it's going to burn on itself, you're walking away, there's nothing else, there isn't any more fuel to it, and it's going to go down. So I just want to make it clear that really, I'm saying, if you don't have the option, then use water, but really, water should not be used. I'm saying it's allowed because we're assuming that the situation that's necessary, because if you're not going to be putting it out, it's going to lead to a situation that's not good. Okay, now we can take questions. Yeah.
Is it not considered drying with like orange juice after these?
No, it doesn't leave a color, it doesn't change the color of the material, it just makes it messy. It just looks like, it doesn't, you pour orange juice or apple juice on material. Now it changed the color. But grape juice already is like more closer to dyeing.
Yeah.
So that's why I give that order of preference.
Okay. And sorry, second question. Are you not allowed to say if you have like a submersible pot that could be absorbing water, if you pour water on it, would you not be allowed to take like a hand towel and cover the fire so that it would just be like extinguished to the lack of oxygen?
What do you say? If someone asks you a question, how would you answer it?
I don't know.
And I know you do that, but I want to know what would you say? If someone asks you a question.
Yeah, well, the problem is happens with this friend.
No, what would you say?
I would want to say yeah.
Do you see any difference between this and pouring water on it?
I think there is a difference, but I feel like it's just so.
There's a technical difference. Is there a real difference between
Yeah,
pouring water on it or covering it? There's no oxygen that goes out. It's real. I guess maybe it could be some slight difference. It's pretty much the same idea.
okay.
So that's not a choice. Now there is other choices. May not be practical. Again, we're discussing here where there's not an imminent danger, and this from my experience, what I've seen over the years, when this happens, people panic for no reason. I mean, like a napkin falls into they go berserk. Like that's what's the paper towel is burning. Yeah, there's nothing next to it. I'm not talking about there's a kid there. I'm talking about everything. You're there. You're watching it. Table. If a napkin falls into the aluminum foil pan that has tea lights burning, what's going to happen to the paper towel? A paper towel. I mean, a napkin. Napkin is even thinner than a paper towel, right? It's going to burn for like 20 seconds, and then it's going to be over. It's not an airplane. It's not going anywhere. It doesn't have any jet fuel. Where is it going? Again, it all depends on the situation. So, but what I've seen people panic and they right away say you have to pour water and then the virus. It's dangerous. No, if you're there, you're observing what's happening. You could watch what's happening. You can enjoy it. Yeah, you don't have to like go crazy.
It's just crazy because I think about that, and then I also think about how like people used to let their schools burn down.
What?
Like, it's so like people being like, "Oh, there was fire. I can't take it out on Shabbos, so my
No,
whole
no.
building's gonna like burn."
No, it's not incorrect. But
You've never heard that story.
No, it's not
They take
exactly.
the tire out, they're like, okay, the tire we have to save, but everything else, sorry. It's literally story. This really.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it's really it's not. When we get to discuss the topic of fire on Shabbos, we'll go into it. Now it's just we're bringing it, parenthetically, we're talking about it. But when we get to the topic, it's not exactly like that. It's close to that, but not exactly. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, orange juice and apple juice is better than water because you're not cleaning the table.
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
exactly. It's better than grape juice, even.
Because it's not dying.
Right. Grape juice is dying, and that's already like
Mm-hmm.
grape juice is much better than water because many people say you're not dying anything, you're making the material worse. If you have if I'm wearing a shirt and I get grape juice on my shirt, the definition of dyeing usually means you're improving the material. But here you're making it dirty. I'm dyeing it. Wow, I just dyed my shirt. It's ridiculous. It's not in terms of what dyeing is all about, it's to improve the material. So that's why there are opinions that are lenient and saying there is no problem, but chatchila one should be strict. Yeah.
If your intention isn't to clean, then I don't see why water. Like, shouldn't that?
There is
factor
an opinion that says that when you're pouring water on a material, even though it's clean, but this is considered washing. This is considered the issur min ha'torah, the issur of whatever we discussed in Melachim Malachim, because
Doesn't matter.
water cleans, even though it's clean already, but this is what it does. Water is clean. Again, everyone agrees to it, but there is such an opinion that is strict about it. Why is it different than cooking, where it's already? It's cooked already. There's no provision to recook. Somehow it's different because maybe with material it cleans it more. I don't know exactly, but there is that opinion that we have to be careful for. Any other questions about this? Okay, so discussion of fire, we'll discuss Metzger more in depth when we get to it. Okay, so we went outside and it was a rainstorm. People prefer snowstorms, but sometimes a rainstorm, and that's, you gotta deal with it. And you come back home and your clothes is soaked. You're soaked completely. So you change, of course. And what do you do with your clothes that's soaked? You hang it up to dry. Where do you hang it up to dry? Find a place to hang it up, in the bathroom, whatever. Now, you cannot hang it up in a place where you usually hang up your clothes to dry after you do your laundry. You can't hang it up in that place because of the issue of marasayim. People may suspect you. You'll come to the house and they see clothes hanging wet. Oh, if you did laundry on Shabbos, they can't suspect you. It doesn't matter. Well, no one ever goes there. It's in my basement. Who's going to come there? It's prohibited because theoretically a person could come there and suspect you that you did laundry. So therefore, you cannot hang it up in the regular place where you hang up your clothes after you do laundry. However, something interesting. There is a leniency from Rabbi Osdoba that he says garments that you don't wash in the washing machine, but you give it to the dry cleaners, that you could hang up because everyone knows that goes to the dry cleaning and it's not washed in the laundry. So coats that you don't put into the washing machine, usually, I assume, there's a leniency that you could hang it up in that place. Maybe some are strict, but it's an accepted opinion that things that go to the dry cleaners, you can hang up even in a place where people usually hang up their clothes to dry. Yeah.
What if you have nowhere else to put it? Let's say all the other spaces are filled, and the only place that's not is the one place you can hang up.
It's not usual that there's no place to hang. What about your wardrobe?
You can do that?
Do you hang up your clothes to dry after you take out the laundry, after the washing machine, put it into your wardrobe?
No.
So that's a place where you can hang up your coat from the rain.
But you might be getting your other clothing wet.
Is it okay to get the other clothing wet?
Yeah,
Because you wash the other clothes. It's like
I guess. I don't know.
interesting point. Well, it
We always
depends.
think about this for-
It's a good question. It really depends how wet it's gonna get. Well, just move it away. Put it away. Yeah. Well, what about in the bathroom? Do people usually hang clothes to in the bathroom after they do laundry?
Yes.
People do.
It's quite.
People do, right? Okay, so that's, yeah. So then you get exactly. So it is somewhat of a limitation here. But on the back of a chair, it's not practical. It's a long coat. It doesn't whatever. But yeah, in the wardrobe. That's when you hang it up. Yeah, it's not. Yeah. But again, if it's clothes that go to the dry cleaners, there is that leniency. Yeah.
What if you've washed your clothes Erev Shabbos and then they're hanging in the regular, like drying place over Shabbos? Like, because somebody still could come in and think that you did laundry on Shabbos.
Good question. I don't think Chachamim did not go so far. So Chachamim set it up in a certain way. They set up in a certain way. Yeah, there's no problem.
Okay.
There's it's a rabbinic prohibition, so they set it up with certain, rules. They didn't go overboard. So the prohibition is on Shabbos. Once it's done before Shabbos, what you did before Shabbos, you did a permitted act. You didn't do anything wrong. Now, on Shabbos, you have to go out of your way because maybe it's too much. They felt on putting prohibitions and prohibitions. It has to be within a certain range. By the way, talking about this, I just looked, I know something else that's interesting. And there it is, you're coming from a rainstorm and your clothes are soaked. And you're gonna hang it up in a place where it's permitted. But the place that you hang it up is next to the radiator where it's very hot. Where the water, it could make the clothes dry up faster, right? Is that a good idea? Why? You put it on the black. So what's the deal with that? Is that okay? It's a good idea, right?
No, it's not.
It's not okay. Why?
I don't know.
Because if it's very hot over there,
It's gonna cook.
you could be cooking the liquid instead. Yeah, you're cooking the water inside the garden. It could, if you leave it there. If it's very hot and you leave it there for a long period of time, it could cook the liquid, the water inside the garments. Yeah.
We shouldn't go outside because we're freezing.
I mean-
the saliva in our mouth. Like, what? It doesn't make any sense. You're not gonna eat it. Doesn't that factor in?
Our definition is when we put the clothes, listen, when you put the clothes next to a hot place, in our minds, we are helping it dry faster.
Yeah.
In order for liquid to dry faster with heat, that means the heat is cooking it. It's cooking the water inside. It could potentially cook it if it's very hot, depends how hot it is. If it's very hot, that it could become yatzilus inside, then you're not allowed to put it in.
I don't think.
So it depends how close it is. Yeah.
But also, shouldn't part of it be like the fact that you want to consume it?
Like that.
You want to consume what's being cooked.
I don't know because.
Doesn't matter. Bishul, cooking is cooking. When you're cooking water, water is being consumed also. So here it's more obvious that it's being consumed, but before it's being consumed, it's going to become yatzilus. You're going to be cooking it. Now, another interesting halacha. Wow, it's sure purpose that you asked this question. I know it's a few things I should have mentioned. And that is, if after you take off your soaked garment, if it's a type of garment that that you don't want it to be soaked, which is usually the case, as opposed to a dirty towel which is soaked, it's going to the washing machine. So after you take it off and it's soaked, and you hang it up to dry, you're not allowed to move it. It becomes like muktzah. If it's exactly called muktzah, you're not allowed to move it. The home privilege now you can't. So you can take it off, hang it up, but now you can't move it. Why? Because there's a decree, it might come to squeeze out the water. So once it's hanging, leave it alone. Don't you might be tempted to squeeze out, it's soaked with water. Wow, who's first? I don't forget.
So what if you go to someone's house, like to a meal, and you leave your jacket there to dry, and you can't take it and wear it? You just go back out in the rain without your jacket.
I mean, and it's still soaked.
Yeah, like if
That's a good question. That's an excellent question. I don't have an answer for that now. I have to look it up. Oh, by the way, I did look up about the radiator. And the radiator, yeah, you could put on a radiator. Yeah, because
without a blend.
yeah, because yeah.
Like,
we're talking about when there's no issue of bishul.
right.
No issue. You could. We're talking about that the radiator you can't make higher, right? It's already set in a way where you can't open it. It's not a closed, so then there's no problem. You could put it, yeah.
But if you can turn it, make it higher than.
Because something that then you would need a blech.
Okay.
If let's say it's a radiator that's a lower setting, and you could make it higher, let's say, then you would need to put a blech before you put it on. But you actually would be allowed to put it on Shabbos for the first time on the blech, which usually you can't put things for the first time on a blech. Now you could put a blech and put it on. Because it's not meant for cooking. So you're not issue with it. Yeah.
I mean, this is a question I had a lot this past Shabbos, but really related. But basically, it was snow, it was like really high, and like nothing was like stubble. So at a certain point, I was like, oh my gosh, I was wearing like a really long skirt, so I like lifted it and just like get over a hump, and I was like, oh my gosh, was that clarity?
Okay, good
Okay, it
question.
wasn't like 4 steps.
Very good question. Are you allowed, is that considered carrying? No, it's not.
Oh.
The only time it would be an issue, and even then it's not, it's a rabbinic form of carrying, is if you're wearing, let's say, a shawl or a, what is it called? There's a word, it skips my mind. Poncho,
Oh.
poncho,
Right.
or the men with the talus.
Mhm.
That will be an issue if you want to pick it up slightly from the ground, which will get dirty. That would be an issue. It's not really carrying, it's prohibited because it gives the impression of carrying. So it's rabbinically prohibited, but if all other clothing is not an issue. Regular clothing shouldn't be a problem.
So you said poncho and towels?
The poncho, that's the, you know, poncho,
Nobody wears
I
it.
assume that your hands are not inside, right? It's a
No.
poncho? Your hands are not
Yeah.
inside. It's like a,
Yeah.
it's like, what do you call it again? What did you say? Another garment. They went over with. The towel's another one. What's the other one we said?
Shawl? Scarf?
And there was some, oh, the punch, right, no, the punch, I meant the shawl, right, yeah. Right, because if you, your hands don't go inside, so then that's where becomes a problem, yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions about this? Yeah.
What's considered dry? Is there like?
What's considered dry?
What's considered dry?
In terms, you're talking about bishul now,
No, in terms of coat, like, if I was to like, you have your wet coat hanging.
you're talking about wet clothing?
Yeah.
Putting it on?
Yeah, the example is just.
One second, it's discussed that once you hang it up, you cannot, it's muktzah, because you might squeeze it out,
Once it dries.
right? So now your question is, where to go outside?
Yes.
So now you're asking, but how wet is it that it's still muktzah?
Right,
Why is it muktzah? Because you might come to squeeze it out.
right.
If it's still wet, that is what to squeeze out.
But like how wet is?
If
wet?
it's
Like,
wet, but there's nothing to squeeze out, it's not soap, then it won't be issue of muktzah. It's not wet where you can go over to water coming out. I mean, exactly how much, it's hard to say. But if you could squeeze out water, I don't have an answer, I have to look it up. I mean, what do you do? You can't go home now, you can't put on your coat? It seems like it would seem like it's muktzah. Maybe that's what it seems like, yeah.
Okay, so you do leave your job, like you can't.
That offhand, that's the best of my knowledge, that's what it is. Unless I look it up and find another source that gives a means, because you have to take it home now, you have to walk with it. Could mean, but it could be the means, it could be,
Okay.
yeah.
My question was just, taking something like in the bathtub, for like drying laundry,
Yes,
you got your soap, you're pretty wet, so. I've never, well, I hung my laundry to dry in the bathroom.
the what?
I hung my laundry to dry in the bathroom once.
Yeah.
So like, if I were to like come home soaked, take off my clothes and hang them back in the bathroom.
Is that the place where you usually hang up your laundry? It's not usual, it's not usual, just you did it once.
Yeah.
No. Something that's the place that you usually do it. But the question is, if that's the place, it's not so simple, because is that the place that we can say people usually hang up their clothes to dry? If that's the place that generally people hang clothes to dry, then though you don't do it, but a guy walks into your house, he doesn't know that, oh, you don't hang up So it really depends what's the debt of what people usually do.
Yeah,
So I'm not really sure what's the status of what most people do these days.
I think a lot of people.
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
At my house, we do a lot of times, it's common. So it seems that it's a common thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
So it would seem often that hanging in the bathroom is a problem. Because that's common.
Yeah.
People do it. People do it here and there. They don't put all the laundry there, but when they have like a surplus, it is a place. So it would seem that it's a problem. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
One last question, so carrying, like if there's puddles all over, carrying your skirt, or not carrying, but like holding up.
Picking it up is not an issue. Right, right. It's only if it's a poncho, shawl, talus, only then it's an issue. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay. Obvious. Got it. And on surface?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was confused.